Welcome to the world of metal. Unleash the fury within and join the metal revolution, where metalheads unite. From the underground to the mainstream. And this is your host, Luke Robinson. And remember, metal isn't just music, it's a way of life. And we celebrate it here at the Metal Blast Podcast.
Welcome aboard.
Good to go.
It's all good.
Yeah, all sounds good.
Fix this. Just trying to fix my tripod here.
So you guys all right then?
Oh yeah, man, we're doing great.
Yeah, doing good.
I got endorsed yesterday.
Ah, amazing.
Solicited of Sound. The guy sells like presets and IRs and metal packs for like and captures and stuff for like the quad cortex, XFX, Kemper profile, and all that stuff. So I can get free tones, and he already sent me like all the pedal captures, and like I just get all the tones for free now.
Oh man, that's amazing.
It's pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that is sick, yeah, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
You got quite a collection of pedals now. and guitars.
Getting there. Another one coming in a few weeks.
People are taking pictures of their kids, and Mario's just out there taking pictures of his pedals. Puts them in the crib, rocks them to sleep, milks them, everything. He's got the baby bottle.
That's it, man.
Sings them a little song. He'll just like start playing Resurrection on guitar.
That's
Puts
it.
it to sleep.
You'll see a new picture in a few weeks when it comes in.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for another custom build from Kiesel right now. It's a 7-string this time, not 8.
How are you finding the 8-string?
Well, it's my first 8-string, that's for sure. And I got used to it in like one day. To me, it's just another string. I mean, once you learn the guitar and a little bit of theory, it's just another string. And it's pretty good, man. It's pretty fun. I love those heavy, extra low tuning, chunky tones. You know, like I always like to go lower and heavier, and I was always about that. But I never got my hands on an 8-string. I've been thinking about it for the last like 5-6 years. I've always been talking about it to the guys, and eventually I pulled the plug, man. I just jumped on it. The money situation was good. I don't know, like when COVID started, it was a little different for me. Most people were losing their jobs while my overtime was skyrocketing. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm taking advantage of this. I'm gonna start buying some gear. In 1 year, that first year of COVID, when it all came down shit, I bought like $6,000 worth of gear.
Wow.
Dude, like the first album was like partially funded by the Canadian government, because like we were either I was at home during COVID, because like after like everything got shut down, like everyone at my work got sent home, so then we just got paid to stay home. And I was like, all right, Mario, let's just talk on the phone while you're at work. And then like me and Nathan would just go and like work on the tracks. Like we basically worked on all of Mimesis on Zoom. Like that whole track was just like us sitting down and just talking about like video games and motifs. And we were just like, okay, let's just combine all of the tracks from all the songs into this one song. That, fun fact, was the final song that we worked on that album, even though it's the first on there.
And fun fact, we're in 3 different cities, and we just work remotely on one computer, which is mine in my place. And we don't have to get together because we can, like I just said, we can do it remotely. Like right now, the next couple of weeks, we're just gonna do it remotely, and we're not gonna be together for a while because I signed up for personal training, lots going on, and hence the protein shake. And
broccoli juice.
But yeah, it's pretty sick. Like we can get a lot done that way. Nathan lives 2 hours away, and we don't have to travel 2 hours every time we're doing music. So we can get a lot done still, even if it's just 2 hours spent on one day, on the music. We can still get some progress done, right? Without having to
Yeah,
travel all the time. And yeah, it's a interesting time to be in a band right now with a home
I think
studio.
like yeah,
Yeah.
I think creatively it's probably the easiest time to be a musician, because you don't necessarily have to be in the same room to come up with ideas. You can be sitting in, like Mario said, in two different cities. Like for those of you who know the geography of Southern Ontario, I live in Vaughan, Nathan is from London, and Mario is from Mississauga. And when we get together, we either get together to just like game, watch funny movies, or do music. And a lot of the time, music just kind of happens because we're talking about it anyway. And then suddenly it just happens. It's like a romance novel. So
Romance novel.
you start
One way to
talking
put
about
it.
it enough,
Yeah.
eventually it just happens.
Definitely
And
one
that
way
was,
to
if
put it.
anything, it's definitely one way to put it. And it's like that's the magic of our band, is that like a lot of the stuff that happens is because we just talked about it. The way me and Mario got together in the very beginning, like in 2017, like, we were both, well, Mario was in another band at the time, and I had met him when I was working in radio at the radio station. And we were just talking about music that we liked. And just through talking about things we wanted to accomplish, eventually we just came to the idea that we should start a band together. And then when Nathan joined, everything just like took off like a rocket ship. And now we share those conversations between the three of us like almost every night, whether it be on chat or on Zoom or in person. And and the funny thing is, like, we have like this like inside joke where we just have impromptu music sessions. We'll just be all sitting down talking about how tired we are from like the work week or whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden somebody's DAW opens up and now we're working on a new song. How did that happen? I don't know. It's the power of the romance novel.
Yep.
That's it, man. That's amazing, and I love it. I love it when you guys post about having a barbecue. You just like,
Oh yeah,
Ra-
oh yeah,
Random
triple
barbecue.
sausage fiesta.
yeah,
Well, it's true. We get the best sausages in town from this place called Starsky, like this it's like a European grocery store near Mario's house. And we just like we'll just make like our impromptu music, we'll have impromptu chill sessions, or we'll just be like, what are you doing Saturday? Well, not doing anything. I guess we're gonna have a barbecue. So we just get together, we have some Polish sausages, and because Mario is the sausage man. He knows his sausages. Let me tell you, he knows how to pick up the good ones. So
I'm from
so
Poland, man. We know our sausages.
that's right. So we go to the grocery store. He tells us which ones are the best sausages. We trust his opinion, and every time he knocks it out of the park. Let me tell you. And
The barbecue
yeah,
king.
and he's the king of the barbecue too. This guy knows his barbecue. Like he's got a really good barbecue too, because like I don't know, for some reason it always just produces the best meat and whatever else we put on there. So yeah,
amazing.
he's got good taste buds, music wise and food wise. So
Yeah, even though when sometimes we're like, did you decide to just hang out and chill, even if it's just through Zoom or whatever? That chill session ends up turning into a music writing session anyway. So like,
right.
I mean, we're already in front of the computer. Might as well.
Yeah.
So you
It's
guys
a
don't,
romance novel.
you guys don't get a lot of snow, or have you got a lot of snow?
It's like
Oh no, it's bright and sunny out right now.
when it comes to Toronto specifically, because we're like in the most southern part of Canada and the warmest part, I would say, if you're looking at the map. I'd say once every winter we get like everything come down all at once, maybe like knee-high snow, and then it never comes back again until next year. But so we're still waiting for that one big snowfall, whenever that's gonna come, if it's gonna come, because it hasn't come
Probably
yet.
April.
We got a few flakes here and there, but like,
I
but funny
mean,
enough, just 1 hour north of us, they got like insane amount of snow. 1 hour.
well, right here, I got like a ton of snow right now. Like there's like snow everywhere. I guess
Yeah.
it's kind of funny how we're like 2 hours apart, and then like suddenly a bunch of snow is here, but there's not a bunch of snow where you guys are. It's so funny.
Yeah, we got like this is like that time of the year where everybody is like kind of sick of the snow. If you don't like winter, that is. If you like winter, you're probably having a great time. I know like lots of friends who like to go and play hockey and stuff, and they're having a ball. I'm a summer guy. Spring, fall, those are all good seasons for me. So
Yeah.
winter, I mean, I like winter around Christmas, and then January rolls around, and you're like, all right, well, it's cold as balls outside, and now what? We
You
get
guys,
shoveling. That's what we do. So
Yeah.
do
yeah,
you guys get a lot of
we get.
snow? Sorry. I just yeah, hi. What's up?
Yeah, that's all good. Ask your question.
Okay. Lucas, do you guys get a lot of snow there?
No, but the media's like, "Oh my God, it's gonna snow!" Like, be prepared, and then there's like you don't even see like a snowflake or anything. It was literally supposed to be like snowing like crazy this week. I ain't seen nothing, and I drive long
So
distance. I've driven long distance this week, and I ain't seen
Yeah,
nothing.
isn't the UK like a little more north than I guess uh the southern part of Ontario where I am at?
Um, I don't think it's
Oh,
that much
Maybe not that
north,
much.
but
I'm kind of curious
no,
now. I'm gonna look at the map.
no. Yeah, they always you always see the headlines like it's going to go crazy, and then there's just no snow. It's just Scotland. It's like they just get all the snow and that's it. But
so is it like so in the UK? I've never been to the UK, and I think we all really want to go to the UK. We want to tour to the UK. That would be spectacular. But
Oh, you
is
guys
it
are
as
more
rainy
north.
as is it as rainy as they say it is in the UK? Like constantly cloudy and rainy all the time?
um, you could have all four seasons in like a day. So it might be really sunny in the morning. You're like, oh, it's going to be quite a good day today, and then like 1 o'clock in the afternoon comes and it's like pouring it down. It's like, yeah, it's yeah. The weather doesn't seem to want to make up its mind over here.
it's
Hey,
over.
it's like Toronto. One day it rains, next day it snows, and the next day it's sunny. But
That's
that's not what the weather forecast said either.
Yeah, it's kind of like how
yeah.
we had like a green Christmas this year. We didn't really have any snow during Christmas, so so
No.
funny.
Yeah, that was like it was kind of strange, but it kind of like I mean, all the people who wanted snow ended up getting it later because like January just kind of hit us like a snowplow, and and as a matter of fact, it all came in front of my driveway. But well, that's what the snowplow on my street does. Just kind of like plows. After I'm done shoveling the snow, all the snow is plowed like a big snow fort at the end of the driveway. So then you got to go back out and shovel it again. But yeah, like that's the Toronto vibe. At Christmas, you'll get like it'll be like fall, and then like in January, all of a sudden it's like jokes. It's gonna start snowing, and then you just kind of get like this big blanket of cold, and then everybody gets sick during the same week, and then. And then
Oh,
February comes around, you blink, it's over, and then March is here, and you're like, "Oh wow, it's going to be sunny," but it never is. It's just like complete snow until like April, and then like April is like, "Wow, it's raining all the time," and then it snows, and you're like, "I thought I was done shoveling snow," and then May comes around, you're like, "Okay, it has to be done now," and then it actually is, and then you're quite happy about it, unless if you like snow. But
and we only get 2 weeks of spring, and then it's all of a sudden summer.
oh yeah, that
Uh,
too. It's like you go outside and you're like, oh wow, like the squirrels are coming out, there's birds chirping. Wow, I feel like there's some life in the atmosphere again.
Hmm.
And then it's like you crack an egg on the sidewalk and you can start frying up continental breakfast outside.
How cold does it get there in the UK?
It's probably been the coldest for a while. Which was about woke up. It was like -5.
-5, eh? Yo,
mm,
man, we got -22 here right now.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little
Is it
crazy
actually
out here.
minus 22 up there?
Well, today probably not. It feels like -7, but the other day was like -22, and it sucked.
Yeah, like the other day when I went out shopping, it was just so cold that it like was starting to like freeze in my nostrils. It was
Yeah,
like so cold.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
there's
phone says
nothing worse.
-7,
Oh,
which is
dude, there's
insane.
nothing worse than getting icicles on your mustache. Like I felt
Yeah.
like Mr. Freeze,
Oh
like
yeah.
from
Yeah.
the Christmas cartoon.
Yeah,
What was
that's
it?
basically what it feels like. Yeah, it feels like Mr. Freeze, literally.
Yep.
Yeah, because like when I like go when I go to school or whatever, I take the GO train. The GO train is in our area is just like the trains. It's a transportation by train. There's a bus too, but like it's a lot faster than taking like regular transit. And my walk there, the wind is like blowing in my face. So by the time I got there, like I felt like old man winter with like your boogers are frozen and you have like a frozen mustache. Like I'm just waiting for the ice queen to come out of the ground and like and pronounce me her husband or something.
I'd just I'd just be listening to like Winter Sun constantly if it was just like snowing like that. Just
Yeah,
a
sometimes I just
lot.
put it on. I'll put it on our own music, and I'll listen to Angelus, the Faceless Vampire, and I'll be like, when I hear the song, the part "Winter Never Ends," it reminds me of the time that I wrote it when I was on a bus, like actually mad that it was winter, and I was like, "Winter never ends." And then when went into the studio and recorded it, I was like, "You're damn right, winter never ends. I'm tired of this shit." But you know what? It's not all that bad. There are some aspects of winter that I do enjoy. Like I mean, the part that I enjoy is the part where I come inside and have hot chocolate. But you know, like when I was a kid, I used to love playing outside in the snow. So like once in a while, if somebody wants to have a snowball fight, I might be into it. But
Well, at
other than
least you
that,
don't have to work outside. I work outside in that shit.
that's a good point. You like I feel bad for you some days because you know you're out making deliveries and stuff in the freezing cold.
When it's -20 or colder, it just sucks. Let me tell you. What do
Or
you?
there's nothing
What?
I was gonna say there's nothing worse than when your socks get wet and it's like below zero outside and like your feet are frozen, but like everything else is kind of okay because you're wearing a coat. But your feet are so
I
your
find if
toes are
your
so cold that it hurts.
I find if your feet are cold, the rest of you is cold.
Oh yeah.
That's
Because if they're
it.
cold, the chances are your feet are probably wet too. You take off your
Yep.
socks and then you're like a Sasquatch walking around the house.
What do you do, Lucas? What's your job or occupation or whatever?
I do long distance driving. Um, deliver to power stations up and down the country. So I could be in Scotland one day, then I could be in Brighton the next, which is the complete opposite sides of the country.
Holy
Um,
shit.
yeah,
Wow.
I'm running on like 4 hours sleep every day.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
It's not good,
Holy,
but yeah, it's you know, I've obviously we've just had a kid last year, and it's just like only got one wage coming in, and so you just got to do what you got to do. So,
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
but
yeah.
I won't be doing
Yeah.
this much longer. Can't be doing with it. I've had so many jobs in my life. Like, I think I've had like 11 different jobs, something like that.
Well,
But
Wow.
that you and me both, man. And before I found my job
Yeah.
now, I was jumping boats with jobs like every year until I found something permanent. And which is also deliveries too, except it's around the city, not the country. It would take me literally 4 to 5 days to get to from one side of Canada to the other.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Geographically, Canada is like so massive, but like
It's
each
like,
province is
yeah,
so massive.
it's
Yep.
like driving back around the UK like 25 times will be one way from one side of Canada to the other.
Yeah, I know that
crazy.
feeling. I know that feeling from like, going on a tour recently and stuff. It's literally like just long, super long hours trying to get to the next province. I'd say probably Winnipeg, to get to Winnipeg from here takes at least a day or something crazy. Like, yeah, Ontario is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably doesn't. Probably, you probably maybe you don't know this, but like most of Canada, dude, is just trees. It's just mostly trees. When you're not in Toronto, that is.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's a lot of oxygen.
yeah. I would love to come to Canada and just visit as many states as I can, really. Um, Well, like I say, it takes forever to get all the way around the country.
Oh yeah, it's an
Yeah.
expensive trip to go across the world, so
Yeah. I'd love,
understandable.
yeah, I'd just love to go and see, like, go over there, see a bunch of shows, might even see some wrestling, and
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'll be there too with you.
yeah.
oh yeah.
So,
We'll go together.
what's
Have you
your
been
what?
to a
Go on.
Have you been to like a televised show, Luke? Like wrestling show?
Yeah, SmackDown versus Raw 20 2025. It was the week, sorry, it was 2 weeks after Eddie Guerrero had passed away. So
Wow.
it was, yeah, they had Eddie Guerrero passed away. Um, then they had like the tribute show afterwards, and then I'm sure it was Sheffield the week after that, and it was amazing, absolutely brilliant.
Right.
Before the show actually started, everybody was either chanting Eddie or just going whoa like Ric Flair, just like going crazy. And it just
Woo!
Yeah.
for like
Oh
for
man.
like 2 hours before the even show started, all outside the arena, all you could hear is Eddie,
Yeah,
That's
Eddie.
dude,
amazing.
wrestling shows are insane, man. We like I went to the I think it was I think it had to be the first AEW show in Toronto. That was last year, and it was bonkers. Like we were like me and I don't know if you know James Delbridge from Lycanthro. He's another guy from Canada. He's in a power metal band. He's from
Yeah,
Ottawa though. He came down to Ontario. We went to a show together. We went to two shows together. We went to Dynamite and Rampage. And yeah, it was awesome. We went outside out in the parking lot. Everybody's like singing the Acclaims "Oh Scissor Me Daddy" thing and doing the scissoring thing. They're like like everybody in the parking lot was like losing their minds, and it was crazy. It was a lot of fun, and we were like right up at the front. Like we were like just like we got like a really good view, really good seats. So yeah, we had a great time. I'm surprised you didn't go to the show in Wembley.
that was it. It was actually my birthday as well.
Oh wow, what
Yeah,
timing?
so 27th of August, man, and yeah, it had like a record-breaking crowd or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 81,000 people or something.
Yeah, I couldn't make it, and family time and
Yeah,
that. First birthday as a dad, like, but yeah, I think they're coming again in August at
yeah,
Wembley.
yeah.
So I have to see about getting tickets for that, but yeah, I saw videos on that and Chris Jericho and everything, and it just looked amazing.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's like that's like a WrestleMania crowd. Like that's something I've always wanted to do was to go to like a live WrestleMania, like because like you're in like it's a stadium show, and you know it's going to be a good card, like no matter like who's on it, you know it's going to be good because it's WrestleMania. Like even if you're just going to see the main event, like especially I really like what WWE is doing now. Like the last couple of years before, like during the pandemic, it was starting to pick up again. But like before that, there was like this whole era where like there wasn't really like it's like AEW is coming up. There was a lot of focus on like the indies and stuff like that. But I think now they got like LA Knight, they got like AJ Styles is back. They got Randy Orton who's back. You got CM Punk who just went from like just jumping all over the place, AEW to WWE. Um, there's a pretty star-studded cast there now. Cody Rhodes now coming back. Like it's a pretty star-studded looking WWE now. So like I would really be excited to go to a WrestleMania, and even like The Rock is back now too. Like that's another crazy thing. So
The
yeah, I
Rock?
saw
yeah,
that. Yeah, I saw that other day.
yeah,
Yeah,
he just came
Jinder
back and he
with Jinder Mahal, wasn't it?
yeah he beat up Jinder Mahal, which I just saw like this whole thing like I don't know how much of the backstage stuff you keep up with these days, but I saw like this whole thing where like Tony Khan was kind of like is he's on the AEW, he's the CEO of AEW. He was like talking about how like because I guess like internet fans like tend to question booking a lot because like everyone collectively is in SmackDown versus Raw 2007 where they're in general manager mode, so they all think they could book the show better than the bookers. So they've all said, why are we seeing Samoa Joe versus Hook? Like, and then Tony Khan went on. He was like, well, you know, Hook's won like X amount of matches and had X amount of losses, so it makes sense. And Jinder Mahal hasn't won a match in like a year, so like why is everybody like getting mad at me and not getting mad at WWE? But then like yeah, Jinder and Seth Rollins had the match. Obviously Rollins won, but like I think that like with wrestling, it's like you kind of got to consider both, but I think that above all, it's like who do the people want to see, right? Like it's not some it's a predetermined sport, so like the statistics are really a matter of like I mean they do play a role, but I think it's more like who's drawing the most money for the promotion or who's the most over with the fans. Who do people want to see? And I think Jinder Mahal is good. Like he's really transformed his body. Like I remember when he was wrestling like back in the 3MB days, I was like, yeah, this guy, like, yeah, he looks like a regular guy. But then all of a sudden he comes back and he's like a monster. And I'm like, holy smokes, like this guy can definitely like do something. So, you know, you can never really count somebody out like completely without like giving them a chance. I think that like some people like or some wrestlers like really have like the potential to change the perspective of the fans just by like changing a few things, like getting better at your craft. Like you can never count somebody out for doing that, and that goes for everything, art, sports, music, whatever it may be. Like you can always there's always room for improvement, and there's always and you know if you can give people the benefit of the doubt, then you never know what they can do, right? So I don't know. There's a lot to consider there, right? So
Yeah, definitely. I didn't see much wrestling after 2008, but I did see SmackDown. It wasn't live. 2017. Like the main event was like Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Jinder Mahal triple threat match. That were pretty good.
yeah,
Like, but
yeah, that was when he was the champion for like a short little while there. But like I think that yeah, that run was I think he's actually pretty good. Like if you've kind of like seen like a lot of wrestling, like you can tell like what is good and what is well thought out and what is like, you know, something that you've seen before or something that is just kind of like whatever. But I think I think he has a lot of potential. So I'm excited to see what they do with what they have, because for a few years like in like the during the pandemic era with wrestling, it was hard to watch, to be honest. Like without an audience there, it's not the same. And I was
yeah.
really gravitating towards AEW's presentation at that time because they had wrestlers in the audience. They were in Daly's Place, which is like an outdoor venue. They had a little more there was a little more energy to the show, whereas WWE like went for like that pandemic era like Zoom screen presentation, which I wasn't really fond of because it made it more obvious that the crowd sound was being piped in. So when you're watching the show and you're like fully aware that the crowd sounds are artificial, then it just feels doesn't feel authentic. Because like what's amazing about wrestling is the reaction from the crowd is really like so much of like what goes into the storytelling. And I think even like since like the ECW days, like now like you can like the crowd plays like such a big role in the show and its presentation. And that's why like you can have like baby faces and heels, but like sometimes the heels are being cheered. That's like the AEW moniker at this point. Like like a lot of the heels, like Swerve Strickland, who's an amazing athlete and an amazing performer, he's like getting cheered by the audience. Meanwhile, he's doing all these dastardly heel tactics to win his matches and do things like that. So it's amazing to see like how far wrestling has come, and really just uh how far storytelling has come too. So it's always interesting. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Have you been to wrestling, Nathan?
No, I have not. I'm probably the one who's the most unfamiliar with wrestling out of us three here. But I do hear a lot of stories about Ric Flair, for example, or Macho Man, let's say.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Alex always
those
talks
are
about him.
those are two of the greats, man. I think Ric Flair is like one of the greatest of all time on the microphone because everything about him is real. Um, like what you're seeing is very much who he is in real life. And there's like so many
Yeah.
stories that you can recall where like he was actually like that at bars. Like he would go to bars and he actually would just like throw shots over his shoulder into the plants.
It's still like that now. It's like
Yeah, I don't know. Like there's a lot of faces of Flair. I mean, like there's so many different things that you can look at because I've watched like a few documentaries on like how he, struggled with self-confidence in the early 2000s because he had gone through WCW's bad booking and
Get some water. Be right back.
yeah.
Yep.
And just a lot of things in his life that were happening and yeah, I mean in his personal life, like I mean he went through a lot and there's a lot of stories that are out there. Like I think there's like a ESPN 50 for 50 or something. I think that's what it's called. And a lot of stories about Flair. And I mean, like, he's Ric Flair. I mean, he has a lot of he has like quite a history. And I mean, to me, I think he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And I think like you don't have wrestling without Ric Flair and even Macho Man too. Macho Man is another one of the more charismatic figures in wrestling who you'll see. And yeah, I mean, and wrestling is a hard life, man. Like being a professional wrestler, after watching all these Dark Side of the Ring episodes, you really realize like it's like being a rock star, but also being a stunt double at the same time.
And we're back.
All righty.
During
Welcome back.
commercial break, we got the Sweet Chin Music, and he went over the ropes.
And then here comes the fire extinguisher.
Bring
Wait,
out the
who's that
table.
guy? Is that Mario? That's what happened to Dark Fantasy Metal World Tag Team Champions. What's he doing out here? He shouldn't be here during this match.
Starts running down, starts sprinting down the ramp right through the ring, fucking just plowing him down in the corner.
Yeah, just stomping a mud hole.
I know
the referee ding 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 ding. They're just ringing the bell constantly.
I know
we
you
gotta get
said
somebody out here. Then the ambulance comes down, and then a stretcher comes, and Brock Lesnar comes out, does an F5. Like,
I know you
all
said
of a sudden Vince Russo comes on. He says, "Listen here, bro. We're gonna evacuate the building, but first we have to take all the titles away from all the wrestlers."
I know you said
have a grand reset.
Let the man speak, bro.
All right, what do you got?
I know you said you went to Survivor Series 2016. Is that right?
I did. Yeah, that was the last time we chatted, right on Instagram there.
Yeah. Have you been to any other pay-per-views?
I've been to NXT Takeover as well, the first one. That was the one where Samoa Joe beat Shinsuke Nakamura for the belt, which was a great match, by the way. Yeah, I don't think I've been to any other pay-per-views. I know Money in the Bank is coming to Toronto in July, I believe, so I might be going to that one.
Very good. Yeah, we don't really get pay-per-views over here, but I do remember. Do you remember Rebellion pay-per-views?
That was like that must have been like 2001 or something.
Yeah, it was like year 2000, 2001. I think there was one in Sheffield and one, probably London or something like that. But yeah, we don't really get any pay-per-views, but it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing to go to like a WrestleMania or something. Yeah,
WrestleMania. Well, you guys got Wembley, so like for AEW, so that's like pretty major.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to go if to keep doing it every August. That'd be a great birthday present every year. Just want to ask you like a few questions about your debut album and that. So did you work on the first track together? Did you say? Because I know it's all orchestral.
Yeah, I mean,
did you all like have a take like on how the song should go?
Yeah, it kind of just like happened. To be honest, it kind of happened organically, I think. So, yeah.
I think I remember it was Alex's idea to kind of have all the themes from the album in one track just to sort of uh, introduce the motifs that happen throughout the record. And yeah, we really thought that doing something like that would be a really cool idea, but it was also a very ambitious idea.
Mm.
Um, and as a result, that piece took at least half the year to complete.
Yeah.
From what I remember, it took us at least 6 months to complete. But it was worth it though, because we like in terms of what I was doing, I got to explore like all these different like different textures, like these different timbres, right? And just play around with the themes, like interjecting with each other, like playing alongside each other sometimes, and that process was just really fulfilling in a lot of ways. Um, and yeah, I mean, at least speaking for myself, I don't think I've ever been through a process that intense before.
Yeah.
Like
I
it,
bet
it
you
was,
bet you
yeah,
learnt a lot from that, from making that track.
yeah. Like, well, it's kind of like, if you're gonna write, music for film, it's kind of the same idea. You have motifs that you kind of introduce early on, and then you're sort of trying to find those within the rest of like the other pieces that come throughout the film, let's say, or the TV show or the game. Like, for example, Hollow Knight does this very well. If you've heard of the game, it's a very popular game. Personally, I think it's the most perfect game ever made. But basically, they sort of the composer Christopher Larkin introduces like themes very early on within that game, and then they reappear in ways throughout the entire track, and they're used to make entirely new pieces. And at first, you don't even notice that it's there, which is the most craziest part about that soundtrack. But yeah, that's kind of what we were trying to do with this. So, we had the Sphinx thing. Oh yeah, can't help but mention this, but here's the character from the Hollow Knight. Might as well show it while he's here. But basically, that was kind of the idea. That I'm pretty sure that's what Alex was talking about. I think it was his idea to do this, but basically we wanted to have all the themes like introduced before people listen to the records. So, it starts off with the first theme, right? It starts off with the uh, Dawn of the Shade World theme, which I took the melody I think that Lindsay Schoolcraft wrote for the song, which is the soft bridge part, I believe. And I sort of put that through a kind of like a bellish sort of sound, I think it was. But I thought that would be a cool way just to sort of introduce, like, it's like kind of like the last scene comes for at the beginning of the record, but then like
Yeah.
it comes back at like the end of the record, which I that would be a cool idea. But yeah, it starts with the Dawn of the Shade World theme. It kind of goes into like I don't remember. I haven't listened to the piece in a while, but I think then Angelus and Jade themes are kind of interwoven together, I believe. Um, and I thought that was really cool. Um, and uh, and then there's the just for the sake of not like butchering the order, like there's the and Marie theme in there somewhere. There's the Sphinx
Corpse
theme
Bride.
and like a yeah, Corpse Bride's in there, I think. And then Sphinx has like a sort of saddish theme that's a little
Sad
different
Sphinx.
from yeah, Sad Sphinx that's different from the original. And then there's like some sound effects and stuff like that. I remember after the Sphinx scene trying to kind of create some atmosphere, and then it kind of goes into like the Hunter's Nightmare theme, which very proud of how that theme came out, and that sort of like developed into climaxing into the Resurrection theme, which Resurrection is the first track on the record. So that's why Resurrection came last in Mimesis, because it was going to transition with some sound effects into uh, that first track. So that's why that was kind of the order. So
I didn't
again,
even know
if
that detail. That's
I
pretty sick.
yeah, I don't like I don't remember the exact order because I haven't listened to the piece in a while, so sorry if I mess it up, but I definitely remember that that's why we put Resurrection last, was because we wanted it to go into Resurrection. We thought it was very smooth. So yeah, that's a little bit of behind the process of how we made that track. So
Oh,
yeah.
amazing, man.
Yeah.
What VSTs do you use for that? Like orchestral stuff and that?
So I use primarily 8DO stuff. I know Luke, you've been saying how you use 8DO, I believe. Uh,
Yeah, Majestica and
yeah.
Lacrimosa, but I
Yes.
feel like you use a lot. You use different stuff.
So 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 those two libraries are actually the main libraries I use throughout this entire record.
Oh wow.
There were some other ones, like there was some East-West stuff.
Oh yeah, throughout the record we got
Uh,
East West, we got
yep,
what's the heaviosity one? What's the
and heavy
heaviosity?
Heaviosity
Vocalize 1 and 2,
vocalize, yep.
and Vocalize 3 is out, which I plan to get my hands on. I highly recommend that plugin, by the way. Really great. If you like the choir
Vocalize.
or if you like the orchestra stuff, check out a YouTube link, one or two links on YouTube, and just search Vocalize 2, 1 or 2, doesn't matter. I guess 3 now since that's out. I'm telling you, man, the quality of those voices, man, it's like it had to be a real person recording that, first of all, and with the effects and reverb and decay and whatever, it's just so nice, man, and
Yeah,
so many
and
different layers. And anyways, I can get really into that, but
yeah, yeah,
this,
and they also have another one called Natural Forces, which was used a lot throughout this record, like especially the like the rain sounds, there's like thunder sounds and stuff like that. I tend to use that one very often for nature sounds. Um, but another thing that we did that was fun was we decided to try and make our own sounds, which I don't know if we've always talked about
Yeah.
that, but
We made a few.
we made just by like using Alex's phone, mostly Alex when recorded some stuff. But because Alex's phone was pretty decent quality, so we're just like, oh, why don't we just use this? So
Surprisingly.
so he basically went to his closet and just did some page stuff, like flipping through like a Bible, basically, and like using a few sounds from that. And then I think
Sounds good.
there was like walking on stones and stuff like that, just like by putting his phone.
How did you do the
Yeah,
walking? The walking
So so the funniest thing was so I think this was for novice pyromancy. This song particularly. We had the idea of, well, I think for one, just to talk about a few things. So for one, I have some things I want to say about Mimesis. And for one, that song was so much fun to work on because we have like this wonderful process which we do, which is like, my role in the producer chair is very much, I just kind of like puke my imagination out and I'll say, I'm thinking of like this. So Angelus is going to confront Anne Marie and he's going to do this thing. And this is what's happening in the scene. And then like both of them will be like, okay, let's make this into sound. And then like we'll sit in the studio room together and you actually witness this kind of crescendo of all the ideas being painted into this scene. And we really like to combine cinematic elements with music. And Novice Pyromancy particularly was like one of those songs where it's not a long song, but it feels like it's longer than it is because there is so much happening. And because there are so many short segments of different things, there's voiceover where my voiceover chops to work. Those sound effects, which Nathan was talking about, which we're taking with my Samsung Galaxy S9, which I'm using to do this interview with right now.
there?
Um, So to answer your question about how we got the sound outside on the rocks was, so where I live, there's a bunch of pebbles and rocks that are outside of my house that just back onto my backyard there. So I just took the phone and just like put it like beside my leg and just kind of walked through, kicked some rocks around and got some sound from that. And then I started running, and then I started walking and just got as much raw materials as we can. I gave it to Nathan, and then Nathan was actually able to take those sounds and was able to plug that into the ending of the song there. The sound of the Bible that Nathan is referring to is, there was like this Bible that was like in my storage room that I just kind of found. I was like, oh, okay, well, let's put this to use somehow. So um, the paper that is used to make Bibles is like very thin, and you get this really nice, like crisp page turning sound from it. So I just kind of put the phone there and just started flipping through the pages and all that. And yeah, we got a really great sound from that from my phone. And surprisingly, the Galaxy S9 is like a really good phone for picking up sound. So we used that for those page sounds, and then I snapped my fingers. That's actually from the Galaxy as well.
Yeah, I
That
forgot about
explosion.
yeah.
Well, let me put that on hold for a second. I'm gonna have to borrow your phone to record my 4x12.
Yeah, yeah. Next time, definitely. But then I have to give like a lot of credit to Nathan for that explosion sound that we got. That was like a fully crafted sound that he did on his own. Like from like I don't know if it was from the Heaviosity plugin
like
or what it was.
What explosion sound? Where?
like I
The
think
Novice Pyromancy explosion when like the fire comes up and you hear that sound effect.
Oh,
I think I'd have to look in the session again what I did. It was a while ago now, but it was like combining like sample libraries together in a way, and also so like I didn't make the sounds, but what I find like I'm good at is just layering sounds together to make something that I want to hear. So I think man, I don't remember. It was there was like some type of explosion sound, and I had to like EQ it somehow, or it was like a layer of different sounds to sort of create that explosion sound. I'd have to take a look, but basically my process is just finding those sounds um and are they like can you like layer them together in a way to like make that sound that you want so it sounds different from that sample, right? But yeah, I forgot about that one too. Like there were the snap sounds that Alex did. So he did some snapping through his phone. I just had to go in and just EQ it and stuff. But the great thing about um having your own samples is just being able to do any with it. I mean, with any sample really. Like I think I think I might have like done like copies and pastes and stuff like that to make like some samples longer, for example, with one loop and stuff. But that process is yeah, just super fun. So
There's
yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different
we
stuff going off in this album. It's not just
oh yeah,
you
that's a
know what
lot of
I
layers,
mean.
man.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
What program do
we
you
love this stuff.
use? Like what
What
software?
um in terms I mean I think I know we did use kinetic toys. I know that for sure. It's from
Yeah, for
Native
the
Instruments. Like we did it for the Mimesis track too, like the bells and stuff, I think.
the wind
And
up toy
like
sound.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
we
the
I
wind up
specifically
stuff.
searched Google for a while just for a bell plugin, just for a bell. And I still haven't found exactly what I wanted because I'm looking
Yeah.
for more variety of bells and like the different notes with that bell I want to hit and things like that. If you know have any recommendations, by the way, I'm listening.
Yeah. Like there was another oh yeah, can't help but forget the metal spatula that Alex threw down in his
Oh, how
basement.
could we forget the
Yeah, let's not forget
spatula?
that one. We
So
did I'll let Alex explain it. Yeah.
So, so basically, in novice pyromancy, the idea of the story behind it is, and I mean, here's the thing with the storyline. It's like people ask me a lot, like, what is the first album about? And to me, it's like the first album is really like a big puke of ideas. And there is so much more that is yet to come that is going to build on top of that album. But there are a bunch of little stories in one. So they're all in the same world, but like different things with the same characters happening. And then there will be an introduction of new characters. Like in the second album, we have some new characters coming. One of them is an ice character who we have been just like obsessing over for the past like little while. And the demo of that track, we just figured out the structure for it. That one is going to be a masterpiece of a track. Like I am just so excited to see that one come to life. But the spatula story. So in that little story, the idea is that the character that you see like in the artwork there, he has a name, but yeah, like he's basically he's rejecting the idea of using a sword. He doesn't want to use a sword because he thinks that people are telling him that he needs to use a sword because he's a swordsman. He wants to be a pyromancer. So he's the idea is that spatula sound is supposed to be a sword being thrown onto some rocks. So we took a spatula and I took my S9, Galaxy S9, and just dropped it on my basement floor. And it made this bing ding 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 kind of sound. And yeah, the that's really what it is. It's just the spatula is supposed to mimic a sword, and Nathan made it sound a little more swordy. And then you got like the trying to spark up the pyromancy going on. And that song, there's going to be so at the beginning of that song, you hear the thing about Viola the incongruous spider. There's going to be a song on album 2 called Viola the incongruous spider, which is like a direct sequel to that song, like exactly what happens immediately after that when he goes into the cave and fights the spider. And we're going to have like some themes that are going to carry over into that song, and one of them is going to be we're working on an intro for that song, which is going to be like a big like remember when that happened. Um, so
Are
that's
you
what we love to
far?
do. We
Sorry, are you far into album two then?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Really?
we have
Yeah.
all the song ideas done, and now we're
Nice.
just expanding on the writing and just putting riff salad and experiment salad into structure, basically. And that's kind of like how we write a lot of the time is like we start out with like 1 minute demo of like where the song might be going, and then we just build on top of that idea and just continue with adding bells and whistles, adding more structure to it, reorganizing where riffs go and where the drums are going to go. And
Lots
that's a
more
lot of
war drums
how,
coming. Lots more war drums coming, my friend.
oh yeah, the master of the
Yeah,
war drums. God, you got to give Mario his credit for being a percussionist
yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess
and the guitars.
I guess I do most of the war drums and the percussions. Nathan does some of that too, so I can't take all credit for that. But the I have the war drum plugin, Ensemble drums, so that's why I guess it would be like that. But yeah, it's a pretty sweet plugin. I definitely recommend it, my friend.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
It's not
Definitely.
very expensive either. It's a good price.
Yeah. It's been a while since I bought VSTs, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And you say you've been thinking of ideas for album three as well? Are they all gonna
Yep.
kind of lock together sort of
We're
thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
we're writing two albums at the same time right now
Yep.
Ah,
because a lot of a lot because like a lot of because like the album 2 ideas are basically done, and most that album is pretty much like at this point it's just figuring out structure and building on top of that, like I was saying before. But album 3 is going to take the music into a way heavier direction naturally with an 8 string.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
let me continue with that for a second. So like
yeah.
before I bought an A string, I I was already thinking about like what kind of riffs I would write with an A string, but I used my 7 string and I used the pitch shifter just to get an idea of what that would sound like. So eventually recently got the A string, and then I was dying to record something because I just really wanted to see what our sound sounds like with a drop E tuning. on an A string. Super genty, let me tell you. So yeah, that whole album, the third album, will be all genty like tones, but
Ah,
with that dark fantasy sound.
amazing. So what
So
what's the
yeah,
last what's the string? So you got E and then the seventh string B. What's
uh,
the eighth string?
honestly, I don't even know. I have to check my phone. I'm new to A strings, man. I don't know
I know
that.
seven strings like it's like an extra low B.
Yeah, for me on the seven is just drop A, so A and then standard the rest.
Hmm.
But for
No.
eight string drop E.
Yeah, I hear a lot of Dima Borgir sort of influences. I don't know if you know.
Funny enough, I'm not influenced by them at all.
No,
It's just um
well, like the vocals.
Yeah.
oh, the vocals. Okay. That's different.
In the music as well, but I know it's in the vocals as well. Yeah, you have it's almost like a talking sort of. I don't know what the way
Maybe,
to describe it.
maybe I don't realize it, but I don't think I'm influenced by any in particular symphonic metal band. And if I am, it's probably Nightwish or Epica,
Hmm.
and probably Delane at this point. But yeah, other than that, the symphonic side of things, I'm very much influenced by Insomnium and get Monomarth guitar playing.
Hmm. You
But now that I'm not, I and now that I'm not in a melodic death metal band, which I was before Blood of Indigo, I'm not primarily focusing on straight up melodic riffs,
hmm.
which because this isn't a melodic death metal band. So I guess by default, kind of train myself to write a different way. I've always wanted to write like dark riffs, anyways. I just couldn't do that with the other band because we weren't like a dark black metal band or anything. It was just straight up mellow death with like tapping harmonies and stuff. But yeah, that's the direction we're going for. But that's what those are my influences. But and you probably hear some of that actually in as far as like a monomar gunning riffs. I mean, but that's every death metal band. We're all playing gunning riffs anyways.
Hmm.
So I mean, but that's where my influences do come from on that side of things.
Like
Nice.
I can, yeah, like I can speak on sort of similar terms. I know my background's a little different, but well, I can tell you first of all, Nightwish was the whole reason I wanted to do music in the first place. Just hearing them, I don't know, 10 years ago now, or might even be more than that. Uh, but like a lot of that influence is on a record. You can probably hear it. Like just having the sort of like very real aspect and having the orchestra be a little more bigger in size and stuff like that. Um, I will say though, so you do bring up Dimmu Borgir. I am influenced by Dimmu Borgir, kind of like those dark like chord changes. Um, and like some of those arrangements as well. Um, especially the Abra Hadabra record that has a lot of good arrangements on that one.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that album. A lot of people like kind of shit on it, but it was
yeah,
one
it's
of
a
the
good
first
album.
albums I
Mhm.
heard by them, and I
Mhm.
was just blown away by it. So really love that
Yeah,
album.
yeah, like the t self-titled track is really nice. Gateways is pretty good too, and there's some other like nice little gems on there. Um, and then yeah, I mean Death Cult Armageddon is just brutal. Like
Oh yeah.
the entire thing. Has their most iconic song, Progenies on it, which is a great track. But yeah, I mean, mostly I've been influenced a bit by those records. But yeah, mostly my main influence came from Nightwish, wanting to do this, um, for a living and stuff like that. And then heavily influenced by Epica. They're another big band, like Mario was saying. I also grew up with Delane. Delane's a great band too. They had some more like more like in-string combinations of styles and stuff like that, which is cool. And Also, some Camelot as well. I'm a very big Camelot fan. Been listening to them for a long time. And they had some like very cool like dark moments. But yeah, my influences are sort of like a combination of all these things, you know, also liking a lot of like dark ambient music as of late. That's like one of my newer influences and you know, being inspired by like games like Hollow Knight, for example, that whole soundtrack,
Oh
Dark
yeah,
Souls,
video
for
games are a
example.
huge inspiration to our
Yeah,
music, bro.
Oh
video
yeah,
games are a big one for our music. Like so
yeah.
like for me it's Hollow Knight. For Alex, let's say it's Bloodborne. You know, I know it's Bloodborne is Alex's favorite game.
For me, as far as
Um
games, would be a little mix of a lot of games because
yeah.
you're not even
Yeah, I'd say a
not
lot.
just medieval games have like that epic sound, right? But like, yeah, it's produced a lot of games like the Total War series I used to play, and there's just so many. I mean, I can name so many games,
You guys
Castlevania,
into
whatever.
Final Fantasy? Did you ever play the Final Fantasy games?
I
I've
actually
been
haven't.
I've been
I
wanting
actually haven't.
to I've been wanting to play the Final Fantasy games. Like I know you can like they're mostly for older consoles. Unfortunately, I don't have older consoles. I know Alex does though have some older consoles. But I know you can get them for iOS right now, I believe. There's like a bunch of them you can play around with. But yeah, I've always wanted to try Final Fantasy. Like I have a Final Fantasy score book over there with some like favorites. Like there's like this one called I think how you pronounce it, Ares theme, I believe, which I believe is like a classic Final Fantasy
Y-
piece, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I
So I
do
played around with that
remember.
a few times, but yeah.
I do remember like I haven't played a Final Fantasy game, but I play a lot of Super Smash Brothers, which means that you probably are familiar with everybody's theme song at this point. So yeah, the Sephiroth theme is iconic, and that Piccolo sound we actually used for, I believe we used it for Mimesis, I think.
Might have. Yeah,
Or no, we
I'd have to
used it for Dawn of
open
the
up the
Shaded One.
session.
We used that was where we used it in Dawn of the Shaded One. That's correct.
Yes. Yeah, we I believe it was the flutter tongue technique, if I'm correct. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
when I couldn't, I mean, a flautist would be better at explaining this than I would, but it's basically a more aggressive type of sustaining sound instead of just playing the flute normally.
Hmm.
I'm guessing it involves literally fluttering the tongue, but I'm not an expert with that,
Yeah.
but basically it's a more like aggressive, like piercing sound over like just normally
Mhm.
sustaining the flute. So
Yeah. I did want to answer your question about influences, though. So it's funny that you say Dimmu Borgir is an influence. It definitely is. I think that, like, for me, vocally, I've been influenced by so many things. Because my background was from voice acting. I'm a voice actor now, but I'm also on camera too. So being an actor, it means like learning how to use your voice in many different ways is definitely a skill that is developed over time. And to me, I've been playing with my voice since I was like 5. I would do impressions of my entire family, and that was my way of making everyone laugh, sitting at a dinner table and they're just like, oh, do an impression of Uncle Luciano, you know, like, and then I'd just be like, hey, so you come into my house and you want to eat my pizza, and then um and yeah, so Dimmu Borgir definitely on like the black metal end of the scale. It's like I can say like yeah, Dimmu like Shagrath and Silinos are definitely like two people who are definitely inspiring. Kerouac Ongren as well. Like those guys have a really good way of using their voices to tell stories. Especially with like the creepy monologue sections with like especially a song like Blood Queen is like really cool. And he has like that like very scary voice where he wants you to immerse yourself into the darkness. Um, and but my favorite vocalist of all time, and I've said this before on other podcasts, is Angela Gosso from Arch Enemy. She's no longer the singer anymore; she's managing now. But what I liked the most about Angela was that like she had a vicious and monstrous voice while also being able to enunciate and pronunciate so effectively. And that is one of the things that I always aim for as a vocalist is to make sure that every single word is heard. Um, and I kind of go from like, and then on the death metal side, like I really like Johan from Amon Amarth. I really like even like I have like some inspiration from like Randy Bly from Lamb of God because I listened to him a lot back in the day in high school. I still do sometimes. Who else? Like on the male vocalist side. I really like Alex Terrible. I think he's excellent. Um, uh, Will Ramos, like from Lorna Shore. If you're a vocalist and you don't listen to him, then like you definitely should because like he has an insane range, and he's very interesting to listen to. Yeah, there are so many that I take inspiration from, but it's like while there's also music, there's also the voiceover background too, and just even wrestling too. That also like because the thing with wrestling promos when you listen to people speak. And the funny thing is, I just had like a class on this. My English professor was like talking about how the English language is like a rhythm. So the way that we speak is da 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 da, and then people like the sounds of those sounds. So the English language is very rhythmic. So being a growler or a vocalist, a harsh vocalist, the better you get at listening to the rhythm of the English language, the better of a vocalist you'll become because you'll listen to certain rhythms that sound good and you actually can craft really well written lines by understanding those rhythms because your voice is also an instrument and learning how that complements the other instruments in the mix actually allow you to not only stand out, but your other bandmates to stand out too. I think that's really important for vocalists to understand, which is that there is space for the instruments, there's space for you, and then there's space for both of you. And it's a matter of having the intuition to know, which instrument is talking the loudest right now and what is the most important thing for the song right now. So yeah, as far as dynamics, that's right. As far as influences go, yeah, I mean they're all over the map, but I think that we all combine our influences together. And then of course video game music. You can't forget that. I love the Zelda games, all those Dark Soulsian games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring.
Yeah.
God of War, about God of War.
I
have never played a God of War game.
You will.
Kratos is really cool though. Like I remember because like he's been like a guest character in a lot of fighting games. So yeah, he's a cool character. And just the concept itself, like the Greek mythology thing where he's going to fight all the gods, like very cool.
Yeah. We've got about
So,
we've got about 4 minutes left. So we'll wrap things up. But yeah, I know this is a kind of an old game, God of War 3, PS3. It's like 13 years old. I've been playing that recently, trying to catch up on games really. And
yeah,
even though it's like 13 years old, it's still like, wow, the graphics pretty good.
Some games still hold up to this day, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a whole
yeah.
drawer full of N64 games in here.
Yeah. And you can buy them for like almost next to nothing, you know. But I've just bought not the latest God of War Ragnarok, the one before that on the PS4. So I will eventually make my way through the latest God of War games. I've heard like some of the best games some people have ever played. I don't know, but yeah,
I played the newest one. I can tell you it's pretty good. I won't spoil anything, but it's pretty detailed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a new TV because TV's old, and you know, if you're gonna be playing these PS4, PS5 games, you want a good TV. So, but yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on, and you know, and all the best with album 2 and 3. Really looking forward to hearing it.
Thanks.
So,
Yeah,
awesome.
for having us.
Thanks for having us, Luke.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah,
It was fun chatting.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
If there's one thing I could ask that I'd love to see is make some more reels on Facebook, like maybe, you know, some of the making of the new the second album. Like that'd be awesome. Like I love when you post when you do the meetups and that and the barbecues and that.
Oh yeah.
But
well, ask and you shall receive. We will give you more of that.
Yeah, we got more of that. Yeah.
Amazing. Love to see it, man.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I'll speak to you guys soon.
Have a
Yeah,
nice
thanks
one,
for
my
having us,
friend.
Luke.
Nice
Have
one,
a
man.
good weekend.
Yeah, same to you.
Yeah.
Same to you.
Have a good
All
one.
right.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care, my
Have a
friend.
good one. Take
We'll
care,
see you
guys.
soon.